There is now a full-on price war in the U.S. housing market between home builders and existing home sellers. And the builders are winning. They're now spending over $50,000 per house in incentives to undercut existing homeowners. Rates bought down to 1.99%, zero down payment programs, $50,000 off the purchase price. D.R. Horton, the biggest builder in America, just reported a 29% drop in profit. They are sitting on 19,000 unsold homes, and they are still cutting prices. Now, in our last video, I told you this was going to force existing homeowners to cut too. A lot of people in the comments disagreed. They said owners would just sit on their low mortgage rate and wait it out. Well, since that video, 62% of buyers are now paying below asking price, the highest level since 2019. In Austin, 22% of listings have been cut multiple times. The homeowners are now breaking. So let me show you what's actually happening right now, because this price war is about to enter a phase that we think very few people are prepared for. Look, in the last video, I showed you builders had cut the median new home sale price about 14% from the 2022 peak. That was a big number at the time. What's happened since then makes 14% look like a warm-up. The latest earnings reports came out from the major builders, and what they're doing to move inventory right now is something we have never seen in the data before. Pulte Group, one of the top 5 builders in America, more than doubled their per-home incentive spending. They went from $18,000 to $21,000 per house a year ago to over $52,000 per house today. That's not a typo, $52,000 per home in giveaways. Lennar is even more aggressive. They're now spending 14% of every sale price on incentives. When you're selling a house for $386,000 and you're giving away 14% of that, that's $50,000 to $60,000 per home that's just gone. And they have to do it on every single sale. And folks, it gets even crazier than that. We're about to show you builders offering zero down payment, rates under 2%, and up to $100,000 in incentives on a single house. If you're even thinking about buying or selling in the next 12 months, hit that notification bell right now, because we break down new data like this every single week. And the people who see it first are the ones getting the best deals. I know hitting a bell on YouTube sounds like a small thing, but in this market, 3 days late on information is $30,000 late on a negotiation. Just saying. So let me show you what these builders are actually offering right now. LGI Homes is offering zero down payment plus up to $50,000 off the sticker price plus paid closing costs. Highland Homes is offering up to $100,000 in design upgrades at 50% off. D.R. Horton is buying down FHA mortgage rates to 3.99%. Beazer Homes is buying rates down to 1.99% in the first year. 65% of builders have been offering incentives for 11 straight months now. That's the longest sustained streak above 60% ever recorded. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's great for buyers, and it is, but here's what you need to understand about what this is doing to the builders themselves, because this is where the story gets really concerning. These builders are not cutting prices because they want to. They're cutting because they have to, and it's destroying them financially. D.R. Horton just reported a 29% drop in net income. Their pre-tax margin has compressed significantly, and here's the number that really stood out to us. They have 19,600 unsold homes right now. 9,300 of those are already completed, built, finished, sitting empty. Their cancellation rate hit 20%. 1 in 5 buyers is walking away from their contract. Lennar's average selling price dropped about 9% year over year to $386,000. Their gross margin is under pressure, and management guided next quarter to just 15.5% to 16% margins. That's thin. That's razor thin for a company that has to keep building. Pulte Group saw gross margins fall from 27.5% to 24.7%. Their backlog, which is basically the pipeline of future revenue, fell 19% in dollar terms. Management specifically called out sluggish demand in Texas and the western states. KB Homes' backlog collapsed 35%. Smith Douglas Homes, a smaller builder, actually posted a loss. They went from a $23 million profit to an $11 million loss. That's a complete reversal. And the NAHB Housing Market Index, which is basically builder confidence, sat at 36. Anything below 50 means more builders feel negative than positive about the market. It stayed below 50 for the entire year of 2025. Now, here's why this matters to you whether you're buying or selling. When builders are losing money but still have hundreds of thousands of lots that they're committed to building on, they don't stop cutting. They cut deeper because the alternative is even worse. It's carrying unsold inventory while paying interest on their construction loans. So the rational move is to keep slashing prices and keep the assembly line going. And that means for anyone trying to sell an existing home within 10 miles of a builder development, you are now competing against a company that is willing to lose money to take your buyer. And by the way, if you're finding this data useful, do me a favor and hit the notification bell right now. We put out new housing market data every single week, and in a market moving this fast, the difference between seeing this stuff on Monday versus Thursday could literally be tens of thousands of dollars on your next purchase. The bell makes sure you see it first. Also, we know some of you have been watching for months without subscribing. We see you. It's okay. We can talk about the commitment issues in the comments. Which brings me to what's actually happening with existing sellers right now. This is the part we've been waiting to show you, because in our last video, the entire thesis was builders are cutting, existing owners are stubborn, and eventually the existing owners will have to follow. That was the prediction. Well, the data just confirmed it. 17% of all active home listings in America right now have a price reduction. That's up from 15% a year ago. But the number that really tells the story is this. Nearly 11% of listings have been cut not once, not twice, but 3 or more times. These sellers are chasing the market down. And look at which cities are seeing the most pain. Austin, 22.2% of listings have multiple price cuts. San Antonio, 22%. Tampa, 20.8%. Indianapolis, 18.4%. Jacksonville, 17.8%. Dallas, 17.2%. Orlando, 16.9%. Phoenix, 16.5%. And Denver, 15.9%. Notice a pattern? These are all Sunbelt markets. The exact markets that saw the biggest run-up during the pandemic. The exact markets that builders flooded with new supply. Now, here's the stat that should get every seller's attention. 62.2% of all home buyers in 2025 paid below the listing price. That's the highest share since 2019. In markets where buyers had the most leverage, the average discount was 7.9% below list, and 26% of those below list buyers got 10% or more off, the highest share since 2012. In Austin specifically, which we've been covering for a while now, 44% of luxury home sales in February required a price cut before going under contract. Sellers in Austin are getting about 93 cents on the dollar compared to what they originally listed at. The days of listing your home, getting 5 offers over asking in a weekend, and picking the highest one, that's over. In most of the country right now, sellers are the ones who have to compete, and they're losing to the builders. But there are 3 forces that are going to make this price war even worse. And most people aren't paying attention to any of them. The price war between builders and existing sellers is bad enough, but there are 3 things compounding it that we didn't see enough people talking about. The first one is the apartment glut. The national apartment vacancy rate just hit 7.4%. That's a record. The U.S. delivered roughly 600,000 apartment units in 2024, the most since 1986. Another 500,000 came in 2025. And this flood of rental supply is crushing rents. Nationally, rents are down about 1.5% year over year. In Austin, rents are down 4.7%. Denver, 3.6%. Phoenix, 3.2%. Denver is probably the most extreme example. There are 34,000 empty apartments sitting in Metro Denver right now. The vacancy rate there is the highest in 16 years. Landlords are offering up to 3 months of free rent just to get tenants in the door. Why does this matter for the housing price war? Because when your rent is significantly cheaper than your mortgage payment on the same house in the same neighborhood, which is the case in most of these markets, there's no urgency to buy. And without buyer urgency, sellers and builders have to keep cutting. The second hidden force is consumer financial stress. Credit card debt in America just hit $1.28 trillion. That's an all-time record. It's up 66% from the pandemic low. Auto loan delinquencies at 90 days past due are at 5%, which is within striking distance of the Great Recession peak of 5.3%. Subprime auto loan delinquencies hit the highest level ever recorded. Nearly 1.73 million cars were repossessed in 2024, the most since 2009. And this is now bleeding into mortgages. FHA loan delinquencies just hit 11.52%. The highest since 2021. 850,000 borrowers are now 90 or more days past due or in active foreclosure proceedings. That's up 104,000 from a year ago. These are the people who stretched to buy in 2021 and 22 at the very top of the market. And now they're being squeezed by credit card debt, car payments, grocery bills, and insurance costs, which is the third force. Insurance is now eating the monthly payment. The average homeowner's insurance premium in America hit $2,543 a year. That's up 24% since 2021, and it's projected to go up another 8% in both 2026 and 2027. Insurance now accounts for about 9% of the typical monthly housing payment, which is the highest share on record. In Florida, insurance averages over $7,000 a year. Some estimates put it closer to $9,500. Colorado homeowners buying new policies in 2026 are paying $666 more per year than they did in 2024. And nearly 1 in 3 homeowners now says they're not confident they can maintain adequate coverage. So think about what's happening to the monthly cost of owning a home. Even if prices come down, even if mortgage rates come down, insurance and property taxes keep going up. That's squeezing affordability from a direction that most people weren't expecting. And all three of these forces, cheap rent, tapped-out consumers, rising insurance costs, are suppressing demand, which means builders and sellers have to cut even more. It's a feedback loop. Now, we know a lot of you are watching this thinking, this is all very scary, but what do I actually do? So let me give you the practical playbook based on what the data is telling us right now. If you're trying to buy a house, you are in the strongest negotiating position buyers have had in over a decade. Homes that have been on the market for more than 30 days are vulnerable. Start your offers 5 to 10% below asking. For homes with multiple price cuts or 60-plus days on market, go even lower. 26% of buyers who negotiated below list got 10% or more off. That's a real number from real transactions in 2025. On new construction, shop the incentive programs hard. Get quotes from 2 or 3 outside lenders before you talk to the builder's in-house lender. Sometimes the builder inflates the base price to cover the buy-down, and you can actually get a better deal financing independently. Ask for the rate buy-down and a price reduction. In this market, builders need your business more than you need any specific house. The markets with the deepest discounts right now are concentrated in Florida, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. About 88% of homes in West Palm Beach sold below list price with an average discount around 11%. Austin, San Antonio, Phoenix, and Denver are also deep buyers markets. Mortgage rates are around 6% right now, the lowest they've been in about 3 years. That's not amazing, but combined with the discounts and builder incentives, the effective cost of buying is significantly lower than the sticker price suggests. If you're trying to sell, you need to price aggressively from day one. The data is very clear. Homes that sit on the market more than 30 days are getting crushed in negotiations. Overpricing and then chasing the market down with multiple cuts is the worst strategy in this environment because buyers can see the cut history on Zillow and Redfin. It signals desperation. If you're within 5 to 10 miles of a new construction development, understand that you are competing against companies spending $50,000 to $60,000 per house on incentives and buying down rates to the 1s and 2s. You cannot beat that by holding your price and hoping. You have to compete on price, on condition, or on something the builder can offer, like a specific location, school district, or lot size. If you own and you're staying, check your insurance coverage. 1 in 3 homeowners may not have adequate coverage going into 2026. Make sure you understand what your policy actually covers, especially if you're in Florida, Texas, Colorado, or California. Also, look at your property tax assessment. Many states just reassessed, and you may be paying more than your home is currently worth on the open market. You can often appeal. There is a massive regional repricing going on. The Sunbelt markets that boomed during the pandemic are giving back a significant chunk of those gains. Builders are forcing prices down through sheer volume and incentive spending. Existing sellers are finally capitulating. And the hidden forces of rental oversupply, consumer debt stress, and insurance inflation are going to keep the pressure on for the foreseeable future. The price war between builders and existing homeowners isn't ending anytime soon. If anything, it's about to accelerate. And we haven't even gotten into what's happening in Florida right now with condos. Special assessments hitting $400,000 per unit. Buildings becoming unloanable. Owners being forced to sell into a collapsing market. That's going to be its own video, because what's happening in Florida condos right now might be the scariest story in the entire U.S. housing market. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. What we're uncovering out there is genuinely wild. You're going to want to see that one the day it drops, not 3 days later when YouTube finally decides to show it to you. The bell fixes that. Drop a comment and let us know what you're seeing in your local market. Are prices cutting? Are builders throwing incentives at you? We read every single comment, and honestly, some of you are finding stuff on the ground before it even shows up in the data. Until next time, friends.